Greetings from our Temecula studios. Welcome to the Hardwood Report and a special night in the National Basketball Association. The road to the playoffs. Tournament. I'm Ryder Bullock. Thanks again for joining us. 2 games, 2 conferences, everything on the line. Win and you're in. Lose and your season comes to an end. We begin in Orlando, where the Magic host the Charlotte Hornets with the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference up for grabs. These are 2 teams that hovered around each other all season long. Orlando finishing 45-37, Charlotte just a game back at 44-38, and now it all comes down to 48 minutes. The Magic have been a team searching for consistency against top competition, just 20-26 against teams above 500 this season, but they've leaned heavily on their young cornerstone Paolo Banchero. He's been the engine, 22 points, over 8 rebounds, and 5 assists a night. And when he's controlling the tempo, Orlando looks like a playoff team. Add in the perimeter shooting surge from Jalen Suggs, especially over the last 10 games, and you start to see why this group believes they can extend their season. But standing in their way, the funnest team to watch in this play-in tournament, I think, and maybe the playoffs if they make it, is the Charlotte Hornets. And this is a Charlotte team that can score with anyone in the East. The Hornets are putting up 116 points per game, 7th best in the conference, led by the dynamic playmaking of LaMelo Ball. He's the conductor, averaging over 20 points and 7 assists, and when he's pushing pace, Charlotte becomes dangerous in a hurry. And keep an eye on Brandon Miller, who has quietly been one of the most consistent scorers down the stretch. This matchup may come down to efficiency. Orlando shoots just a tick below Charlotte's defensive average, and while the Hornets face a Magic defense that has allowed nearly 48% in shooting, this is a game that is still expected to be tight. The line favors Charlotte by 3.5. The margins will be razor thin. And in this format, there is no tomorrow. Remember, this is not a best-of-7 series. This is one game. So 48 minutes, win, and you're in. Later tonight, the spotlight shifts west to Phoenix, where the Phoenix Suns host the Golden State Warriors in a battle for the 8th seed in the Western Conference. A game filled with experience, urgency, and perhaps a word that Golden State's not used to hearing, desperation. Phoenix comes in as a slight favorite, and for good reason. Led by Devin Booker, averaging over 26 points per game, the Suns have leaned on their scoring punch all season. They've outscored opponents by a narrow margin, but in one-game scenarios, this firepower can be different. The question is consistency. They've gone just 5 of 5 over their last 10. Meanwhile, Golden State enters with a different identity, one built on ball movement and perimeter shooting. They lead this matchup in the three-point production, knocking down nearly 16 per game. Young contributors like Padinsky and Santos have stepped up late this season. But the Warriors have struggled defensively, allowing over 117 points per game across the last 10 outings. And that's the story tonight. Offense versus rhythm, experience versus urgency. And for both teams, everything on the line. 2 games, 4 teams. Only 2 will survive. More on those games in a moment, but first, here's what's trending in the NBA. We begin in Los Angeles, where the future of Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers is once again front and center. After a disappointing play-in exit, questions naturally followed. Leonard, as he often does, kept things close to the vest. But team president Lawrence Frank made one thing clear. The organization still believes their championship window includes Kawhi Leonard. Despite roster shakeups and trade deadline moves, the Clippers are signaling they are not rebuilding, they're retooling, and they intend to contend. Meanwhile, here in Orlando, one of the biggest storylines involves LaMelo Ball, and not just for his playmaking. Ball was fined after a flagrant foul incident earlier this week involving Bam Adebayo. The league investigated, issued a penalty, but notably did not suspend him. Ball has since expressed concern for Adebayo and insists there's no bad blood. Tonight, though, the focus shifts back to basketball, with Ball leading Charlotte in a high-stakes elimination game. Across the league, another major topic, awards eligibility and the controversial 65-game rule. The NBA has granted exceptions to Luka Doncic and Cade Cunningham, allowing both to remain eligible for end-of-season honors despite falling just short of the threshold. So I don't like this, by the way. You've set the expectation that you will play 65 games. Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, obviously stars, getting special treatment. So I don't like that. And I don't like it because not everyone benefits from it, right? Anthony Edwards was denied his appeal, seeking debate about consistency and fairness. It's a conversation that could reshape how the league approaches player participation moving forward. And finally tonight, the basketball world pauses to remember a global icon. Oscar Schmidt, one of the most prolific scorers in the history of the sport, has passed away at the age of 68. Though he never played in the NBA, his impact was undeniable. An Olympic legend, a Hall of Famer, and a symbol of international basketball excellence. His legacy stretches far beyond numbers. It's about passion, longevity, and a love for the game. So as we turn our attention back to the play-in tournament, remember, this league never stops moving, from rising stars to veteran futures, from rule changes to global legacies. Every night adds another chapter. It's time now to go inside the game. X's and O's, tendencies, and what will ultimately decide who moves on and who goes home tonight in Orlando. For the Charlotte Hornets, this is about finishing the job. This has already been one of the franchise's most successful seasons in recent memory, and now they are one win away from snapping a playoff drought that dates back to 2016. Think about that, 10 years, folks. So how do they get it done tonight? Well, it starts with pace and spacing. Charlotte wants this game played fast, with LaMelo Ball pushing the tempo. They create early offense, transition threes, quick hit actions, and driving lanes before the defense is set. In the half court, watch for high pick and roll sets designed to free ball downhill, forcing Orlando's bigs into uncomfortable decisions. If the Magic drop, Ball can pull up or find shooters. If they switch, Charlotte will hunt mismatches. And then there's Brandon Miller, arguably the X factor tonight. His ability to score at all three levels changes the geometry of the floor. Charlotte will run stagger screens and off-ball actions to get him clean looks, especially against a Magic defense that has struggled with consistency. If Miller gets going early, it opens everything else. Driving lanes for Ball, second chance opportunities, and kickouts to perimeter shooters. Defensively, the Hornets will live with contested shots. They'll pack the paint, force Orlando into jumpers, and trust that recent shooting struggle is going to continue. The key here is discipline. Okay? No unnecessary fouls, no second chance points, and most importantly, you got to limit Paolo Banchero in isolation. Now, for Orlando, the approach is almost inverse, right? This team wants control. The Magic want structure, and tonight they need efficiency. Orlando has shot below 41% in back-to-back games, something they simply cannot afford in a win-or-go-home situation. Offensively, everything flows through Banchero, except Orlando has to I'm getting crazy. Expect Orlando to put him in mid-post actions, okay? Banchero has to be everywhere. He has to, okay? And he can either attack one-on-one or draw help and create for others. They'll also look to involve Jalen Suggs as a secondary ball handler, particularly in dribble handoffs and pick-and-roll situations to generate perimeter looks. The addition of Desmond Bane this season was meant to stretch the floor, and tonight his shooting becomes critical, and we will find out if Bane can be one of the best Magic players in franchise history, because Orlando must create better spacing to avoid the stagnation we saw against Philadelphia. But the real adjustment, I think, is going to be shot selection. Too many empty possessions in their last 2 games, forced jumpers, rushed looks, poor execution late in the clock. And I expect a more deliberate offense tonight, longer possessions, working inside out, and trying to get high percentage looks early in the shot clock. Defensively, Orlando has to rediscover its identity. A year ago, this was one of the best defensive teams in the league. Now they've slipped to the middle of the pack. Against Charlotte, that means containing the ball at the point of attack. If ball is allowed to collapse the defense, it's over. Look for Orlando to hedge harder on screens, possibly trap in key moments, and rotate aggressively to shooters. Communication and effort, those are non-negotiables tonight. And here's the bottom line. This game will be decided by composure and execution. Charlotte comes in with momentum, the thrill of a dramatic win. They're playing with house money. Their confidence is building. Their belief is growing. Orlando comes in searching for rhythm, searching for answers, and searching for the form that made them a preseason contender. One team wants chaos. The other definitely needs control. Whichever style wins out will be moving on to face the top-seeded Detroit Pistons in the first round. Tonight's pick and play, I'm going with the Charlotte Hornets to win this game. I just think they're too fast. LaMelo Ball has too much talent. I like Paolo Banchero. I think he's going to do exceptional things tonight. But the Charlotte Hornets have nothing to lose. And I just think that freeness is going to be able to show off and win this game, and they will be playing the Detroit Pistons. That will do it for this episode of the Hardwood Report. We will see you at halftime. Games tonight on Amazon Prime.